got a hold of me and said I was 8 miles away. I've already arrived. Huh, their mapping system must be wrong. Yeah, that's all. So now the customer's complaining because he's saying that it should have been there 10 minutes ago, but I received the order while I was on the highway and got here as quick as I could. Now he's telling me that he has to take his son to a soccer game, that he may not be there. And I think that's too much information to give to a delivery driver, but I'm doing my best to pick up his food and dropping it off at his doorstep.
Picked myself up a double cheeseburger, McDonald's.
The man did not get his food. There was a road closure which blocked the pathway to get to his house. So he canceled. Now, he probably wanted me to break through that road closure to drop it off, but Waze had me circling. See, it's not my job to go through a road closure to drop off your food. That's not my job. My job is to do it in a safe manner. Remember, there's priorities in delivery. Now, I'm glad that you got to go to your soccer game with your son, and I hope you win, but you're not getting your McDonald's tonight. So you'll have to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or something else instead. Now we're gonna go pick up the next one. This happens all the time. I always have a parent or someone going, we're about to leave, blah, 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 go down this way, blah, and every single time they cancel, no matter what. Because we can only get there so quick in a safe manner. Remember, as a driver, we have our priorities straight. Priorities are important. I'm not going to go through a road closure to drop off your food. Now, hopefully that road closure is repaired and people are going to be able to drop off anything. But right now, I was going through the neighborhood like a maze. I'm not going to drive one way down a blah, blah, blah for a road closure to drop off food at your doorstep, because that's frankly unsafe. So, sorry you had to cancel. That's your prerogative. You know, I tried my best. But now we're going to pick up more food and drop it off at another person's doorstep. Well, that was a wrap for tonight. Not completely over yet, though. But, you know, almost completed every drop but the McDonald's one. And the guy had to go to a soccer game and take his son. So I hope everything worked out okay there, because he canceled. But everybody else was okay and got their food at their doorstep. So that's pretty much what happens in this thing for now. I always thought it'd be cool, though, to do a Marlon Brando vlog where you follow the footsteps of Marlon Brando from, I think, Omaha, Nebraska. I want to say that's where he maybe started. His parents were fertilizer. They were in the pesticide. Well, his dad was. His dad was in the pesticide, not the pesticide business, but they dealt with the feed. I guess maybe like a feed store. I don't know if it was a feed store, but it was like soil and pesticide stuff. It was kind of like agriculture position. But his mom and his dad were both involved in the local community theater and were supposedly really good actors in his town. His sister, what was her name? I have to look up her name again. I always want to say her name, but I don't want to say the wrong name. But anyway, her sister. Anyway, Marlon Brando's sister decided to run off to New York to become an actress. So Marlon was very rebellious at home and did a lot of crazy stuff. So his dad decided to enroll him in a military academy where he went to Shattuck Military Academy. There he was even more rebellious at the military academy than he was at home, and played pranks on everybody. He even removed the bell tower. He removed the bell from the bell tower. So one morning they woke up to no sound of the bell tower. He had crawled up the bell tower at Shattuck Military Academy, removed the bell, and buried it in a nearby like garden or bushes or something like that. He hid it from so they would never be able to reinstall it quickly. He did all kinds of weird things, but he did enroll in the theater department at the Shattuck Military Academy, and they did some Greek plays and things like that. And he was like, he'd blown everyone away. Like, they'd go see the play and they just leave the theater changed. He was like amazing actor at the military academy. Well, he was going to go to World War II, and he was, getting ready to go. He was going to enroll in the military. I don't know what branch he was going to choose, but he was getting his physical at the military academy, and they checked out his kneecap, and he had hurt it playing football, and it was no longer really functional. He had a horrible knee injury. You can see it in some of his movies like Last Tango in Paris and a few other movies where he actually kind of limps. You have to really watch it to really notice it. But he had a horrible knee injury from sports when he was younger, and it made his kneecap come out. And that was, I don't remember which leg it was, but he was not allowed to join the military because of that injury. So his sister went off to New York, and she became an actress, and he decided to follow her footsteps and go to New York to hang out with her. And eventually he enrolled in acting class himself with the famous acting teacher Stella Adler. It was in a dramatic workshop, pretty much kind of like the New School University that was connected to. And so he took classes from Stella Adler. He didn't start off at the Actor Studio. He started off with Stella Adler. Well, from there, Stella got him work, and it's funny because one of his most iconic roles was Stanley Kowalski, where he screams out the name Stella in it. And I don't know if Tennessee Williams knew the name of his acting teacher, but it was Stella Adler. The Adlers have a long history in the theater and are known to be some of the greatest actors. And Stella immediately noticed his talent because she asked everyone to do an acting assignment where they pretended like they were, they mocked different things around the town of New York City. So they were to do a creative mockery, basically like, almost kind of like a pantomime, but it was like they would mimic something. It could be anything. And he decided to mimic a cash register. And so what Brando did was he stuck his tongue out and rolled his eyes and mimicked the cash register, and Stella thought that was very, very creative, that he could do that. It was she noticed that he was very creative, and he made everyone in his class, he made everyone in the acting class laugh. So she took him aside and said, "I think you're probably one of the most talented actors that I'll ever see, ever." She was really fond of Marlon Brando, and decided to train him. And he stuck with the program. Now, he finally landed some roles. One of the big ones was I Remember Mama and Truckling Cafe, which people had gone to Truckling Cafe to see him perform, and he had blown them away. There was a moment where he came out to confess that he had killed this woman that he loved, and they believed the performance. They thought they'd never seen anything more passionate. They didn't understand all the lines and everything, but they believed everything he was doing. He wasn't the most clear speaker. He had a problem mumbling and stuff, and a very hyper-nasal voice, so it was hard to understand what he was saying. But everything that he did was believable. And Stella was a big believer that you didn't go to the theater to listen to people speak clearly. She believed that you went to the theater to watch human behavior. And Marlon took that as a sign to reveal human behavior, and would slouch and kind of mumble some lines and wasn't very articulate. And all of a sudden people thought, this is amazing because it's very real. Well, LcSbanD was a new director who had later worked with James Dean, and Tennessee Williams was also new in town, and was developing a play called Streetcar Named Desire, and had invited Brando over. And the rumor was Brando had come over and repaired his piping in his house, in Tennessee Williams' house, because Tennessee had already was developing Glass Menagerie, another play, and that was doing very well on Broadway. So he was becoming a famous playwright. Tennessee Williams was becoming a famous playwright. So he decided to hire Brando as Stanley. Now, originally Tennessee Williams was going to hire an ugly actor to play Stanley Kowalski, a very kind of gritty person. Brando was a little charming, but Tennessee Williams thought, well, I think he could pull it off. I think he could play someone very mean, you know. Well, the performance took off, and Brando got very, what you call, method. He decided to have them install a boxing ring underneath the theater so that he could box people and get very angry. And he also worked out a whole lot and transformed his body into like a bodybuilder's body. And it became one of the most iconic method acting roles of all time. From there, he would meet Elia Kazan, and from there he would do another movie called The Men, and eventually reprised Streetcar Named Desire for Hollywood, and that took his career to a high level. KJKK. Ow. Golly. Did that scare you?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Sorry, I wasn't trying to scare you. Ravioli and cheese. And some mushrooms or something. Oh. That's where you bought your first car? Cat. There he goes. Boy, he's hauling. Remember that last one that jumped down the drain? I wonder if that's the same one.
Oh, he's very little. Oh, he's very little. Car-roni.
kitty.
I'm a homeless person, I think. Excuse me, kitty, I can't see you. Move, please. We're not going to line up here! Thing shut.
You have to open that.
I'm trying to. Stuck.
It shouldn't be stuck.
Well, it is stuck, baby, because it got cold.
Well,
And we can't even turn on the lights.
just give me a second.
Don't elbow me.
Okay, should be open now.
Gosh.
Got it. Merry Christmas, kitty. Not yet, but soon. And Merry Thanksgiving coming up. We're going to get Kitty a little tiny turkey. Right, sweetie?
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving coming up.